Tjena, good morning and welcome to the eROC World Final. We are in the north of Sweden, in Peterhavsbad, and the conditions are absolutely perfect outside. Look at that, it's cold outside, but it's very warm in here, and it's about to get warmer. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm part of Race of Champions 2022, and here we have two of our sim racers about to get the first races underway. And we have some very distinguished judges here who will be helping to decide who will be the winners. So we have 4 gamers competing for the title of eROC World Champion 2022, and of course also a chance to compete in the real Race of Champions this weekend and as part of the Sim All-Stars team in the Rock Nations Cup. But let's meet our drivers. First up, Jarno Opmeer is a 2-time F1 esports world champion and a works driver for the Mercedes-AMG esports team. Like Max Verstappen, he's a cool Dutchman with single-seater experience in Formula Renault, but how will he do on snow and ice? Just got a smile, that's good. Lucas Blakely took Opmeer to the Y in the F1 esports championship last year and is our youngest finalist. He was vice champion in the V10R League on Assetto Corsa and has multi-platform experience, but his real-world experience is limited. James Baldwin, eROC champion back in Mexico, has since gone on to race for Jenson Button's GT team in British GT and won the world's fastest gamer. He's been here before, but not on ice. And last but not least, it's Opmeer and Palm, the oldest of our 4 and a seasoned sim racer, winning the GRC title back in 2012. He won a place in a separate local competition for Swedes, and he knows the motorsport scene over here as a photographer. Will that help him get to grips with the eROC World Final? Let's find out. So here we go. It's almost time to get actually racing. Are you guys ready, judges? Always. Just so you know, this is father and son team, Petter Solberg and Oliver Solberg, and Terry Grant, international stunt driver and an all-round superstar. So they will be judging different categories. We'll explain the format properly, but we have our 2 drivers ready on the start line. This is Simulator 1, the outside lane. This is Simulator 2, inside lane. And in the commentary box over there is Jack Nichols.
Thank you very much, Neil. Yes, there is Jarno Opmeer getting ready to face Lucas Blakely in the first race that we're going to see. Waiting for the lights of the Race of Champions track here in Peterhavsbad. Away they go. Down towards the first corner. Long looping left this. And we'll see at the halfway mark, they won't be exactly level because one of the outer course is a little quicker than the inside course, but they both have to do both in the course of a lap. We're in the electric RX2 e-car for these competitions. Comes over the bridge and across the line. And you can see Opmeer then with a 39.6, and he's 3 seconds ahead of Lucas Blakely. Blakely here in the white car. He's now on the quicker outside route though. As we now come up to the far part of the circuit. Blakely, back end stepping out nicely. But this is where he will start to close in, because you can see Opmeer now has to duck right underneath the bridge. Blakely goes over the bridge. They go to the line, and it is Blakely who beats Opmeer by 1.1 seconds in the end. So very good start from Lucas Blakely. Neil.
So now it's time for the drivers to switch simulators, because each loop of the track, one full complete loop of the track, is slightly different on the inside and the outside. So now, as we can see, they swap so that it's completely fair. Simulator 1 is the outside lane, Simulator 2 is the inside lane, so Jarno has to try and make up that deficit. Should we just have a quick chat with the judges? Hello, judges. So basically, the thing that's great about eROC World put some time out on the track in real vehicles, because of course they need to show real world skills as well as simulator skills. So Oliver, first of all, what are you looking for when you're judging these, what they did outside?
Well, it's basically a bit of track placement, a bit how they drive lines into the corners and apex and stuff. So yeah, just to watch what lines they have.
Okay, and Petter, what are you looking out for? What's your your most important thing?
Skill and how they attack and how they drive, and I looked at the guys also yesterday from the live, and also looked at the film this morning properly, and you know, all drivers are different driving styles, you know, but it's always somebody who have a little bit different. You can see that it keeps the slide properly, so it's very interesting and very good drivers for sure.
And over here, Terry, most importantly, of course, with racing, it's all about what comes up on the timing board, so you're looking out for that.
Yeah, so I'm looking after the pace and the times. Obviously, that can't lie. The quickest time is obviously the quickest driver. But I've spent a good few and just learning their characters. And to be fair, there's not a lot between any of them.
Okay, so it's a real competition on our hands, and of course the points are built up during the course of the next 45 minutes. But for now, the most important points come from winning these races. So let's join Jack Nicholls again.
Yeah, you get a point for each, well, 2 points for winning a race and 1 point for finishing in second position. And then there are points awarded by the judges as well, which we'll get onto a little bit later. So the second meeting between Blakely and Opmeer gets underway. Blakely there in the white car on the outside, coming around that first long left-hand loop. Opmeer just pulling a little bit of an advantage. Remember, it was 3 seconds the gap at the split in the first race between these two. And we'll see what it's like this time. We're on board here with Jarno. Oh, and he's hit the bridge, Opmeer. And he's stuck in the snowbank a little bit. And that is very frustrating for the Dutchman. Blakely here, carrying on his way. You see, he hasn't necessarily, well, he just had a little glance over there, didn't he? He might have noticed that Opmeer has come to a halt. He's at the far part of the course now. Underneath the bridge. Keeps to the left and then keeps to the right to avoid Jarno's car. And Blakely comes across the line to win the second race between them. So, very strong performance from Lucas Blakely, the 20-year-old. Neil.
Let's just dive in to have a word with Jarno. Jarno, talk us through what happened there.
I think there's a little glitch with the game, so I crashed out. But...
Oh, so we're going for a restart. Okay, we're having a restart, so that race will not count. Breaking news.
Okay, yeah, well, you can see actually from that replay that Opmeer was well clear under the bridge, wasn't he? And then he was sent spinning around. So, re-racing that race. Here's Blakely and Opmeer. First race then won by Blakely. We're on board with the Scottish driver now. Coming up towards the bridge. No such troubles this time around. Out across the line. And 0.2 seconds back at that first split. On board we go. Remember, the split in the first race was 3 seconds. And then it ended up being a 1 second winning margin for Blakely. Out across the line. And Blakely wins it by another 1.1 seconds. So Blakely winning both of those races against Jarno Opmeer. Neil.
Well, let's dive in and have a word with very successful Lucas. Lucas, talk us through that. That was, 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of nerves. I mean, it's similar to, like, it's just weird how it always is the same when you come to a competition in an esports environment and you have to, question how it's going to go. But yeah, just trying to focus on the simple things, not overcomplicate it, and yeah, I'm a little bit shaky now, but yeah, good to get the first 2 races done.
Well, let me suggest you step out and take a breath and shake your legs, because we need to get 2 new drivers into the sims. But well done, Lucas. And from your point of view, Jarno, how did that go for you? Obviously not ideal.
Yeah, I knew from yesterday already I was a bit slower, so I didn't put too much pressure on myself and just tried to get it together, which I think I did pretty well, but just lack of pace, like I knew yesterday already. So.
Well, there's plenty more racing still to go. Well done. Yeah. So back to you, Jack, as we get ready for our next pair of drivers to go head-to-head.
Yep, there is James Baldwin putting on his headphones. Reigning champion, sort of 2 times champion, because he won the virtual race last year. And there is Martin Palm, the 35-year-old Swede who won the Swedish qualifier effectively. Jarno Opmeer won the vote, basically, to get into this competition. Very quick driver. James Baldwin is very experienced as well. And I'm interested to see what happens here with him versus Martin Palm. That is Martin Palm on the left-hand side as we look at it. James Baldwin on the right. And the first of the races between them is about to get underway when the lights go out. Away we go. Down towards the first corner. Oh, into the bank, Palm. A little too keen into that tight left-hander. He's in the snowbank again. Really wrestling with it. You can see the frustration on his face. He's on the bottom on the left-hand side. But so far it's been neat and tidy for James Baldwin, who were on. Really, you can see getting the back end of the car out to try and help it turn. He's going to come over the bridge with a fairly sizable margin here, I would have thought, James Baldwin. End of the first lap. Palm is still coming through the last little chicane. And he's 5.5 seconds down, so a lot of time to make up here for Martin Palm. Winner of the GRC Touring Car Championship back in 2013. GRC standing for Gentlemen's Racers Club. And he is 5.5 seconds back at that first split. Here is Baldwin coming under the bridge. Comes to the left and then across the line. And it is a 1 minute 20.4 for the full lap for James Baldwin. And it is only 3.7 seconds behind in the end. And he was on the quicker part, but it was just that first couple of corners for Martin Palm where it got a little bit tricky for him. Here we go. Went piling into turn 1. Very keen, but a little too keen. And just sort of understeered into the wall, and that was the reaction from the Swede. So now they swap sims and they swap lanes. And they get ready to go again. So that's 2 points then for Baldwin. 1 point for that man, Martin Palm. Like I say, the pace was reasonably there, wasn't it? So we'll see what he can do on this second run. Now, so Baldwin will be on the right-hand side for the tight left-hander at the first corner. Here come the lights. There go the lights. Baldwin much more neat and tidy. Palm has made it through though. As you can see, he's on the longer outside loop for the first couple of corners. Then we come into this sweeping section of turns. On board with Baldwin. Around the loop at the far end. Now into the bridge. So Palm across the line, and his advantage is 2.5 seconds. So that's pretty tight, isn't it? We saw a 3-second gap for Blakely. So Palm is still in the game here. Just trying to find the traction, trying to find the power. And Palm is ahead as we look at it, but he has the slower bridge section to come, whereas Baldwin will be flying over the bridge any moment. Palm gets on the power. This is going to be quite a tight one, I think, but it is Baldwin who gets it by 1.9 seconds, and it is James Baldwin who beats Martin Palm twice in their 2 head-to-heads there, and a good effort there from James Baldwin. Neil.
Yeah, so James, you did exactly, go this side for me. You did exactly what you needed to do on the sim, but now it's time to have a look at what you got up to on the track yesterday. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and it's our time for our distinguished panel of judges to watch very closely how good James Baldwin was out there in the snow and ice here at Race for Champions 2022. Let's have a look.
It was really great for some of these drivers to get out on track in real-world cars. James Baldwin has a reasonable amount of experience, as we were saying earlier. He's competed in British GT. He's done Race of Champions before in Mexico City, and here he was in the Polaris. And this was the lap that was analysed by the judges. And you'll see how similar the real-world track is to the Assetto Corsa version. To the point that when I'm watching the, when I'm commentating on the sim racing, I keep looking out the window, expecting to be able to see them, but they're not there, obviously. Through this sequence of bends, the sun was starting to set at this point, so visibility got quite difficult at times. This was Baldwin into the final loop. Just getting a little bit in the bank there on the exit of that corner. Coming now towards the bridge section. And then out across the line onto the inside part of the course. There are the judges. Car looking pretty lively underneath him. They all had a lot of fun driving these Polarises. And they spent the morning at the Porsche Experience Centre as well, which I think they also enjoyed. An amazing trip for these sim racers. Baldwin has Lucas Blakely, for example, we'll talk more about him later, but he's got barely any real-world driving under his belt. So that was the lap from James Baldwin that was to be assessed by the judges. And as we know, they will be handing points out for...
Thanks, Jack. Yes, so first of all, James, just a quick word. It looks like a lot of fun, but obviously you've got your helmet on and you want to be competitive. What was it like on the snow and ice?
It was certainly fun. I think we saw with the lap, there was a few moments, especially in the first half, where I kind of went in the snow pits. So it wasn't the best lap. I think I approached it slightly wrong, maybe sent it a bit too hard. But I did what I could. You know, I'm not going to sit here with regrets. I tried my best, and it probably wasn't enough, but yeah.
Well, that's James's honest assessment of himself. But it is Judgment Day here. So first of all, Oliver, talk us through that lap and what you could see from James's performance.
Oh, well, the conditions look really tricky, but I think in general, for sure, there's a few improvements to get better entry, to get the apex and exit better. So it's a few topics on the line.
So you're specifically looking at car placement and track positioning. So what would your mark out of 4 be for James's lap?
I give him 2 points.
2? So he's got 2 in the win column and 2 points for track placement, car placement. Petter, what are you looking out for?
Well, it's more the skill, you know. All about, you know, play with whatever you do, you know. And when he's getting into the corners, like we also talked about, that he can see it himself now very easily. Now you have to really position it much more into the corners and have the flow, you know. But with too many mistakes. But I think if he get more experience and drive a little bit more on these difficult conditions, for sure he can improve very, very quickly. So I give him 2 points.
Okay, so that's a 2 and a 2, which makes 4 so far. Crucially, what did the timing screen say?
It's a real shame for James because that doesn't reflect how quick he is. That, like I said, the guys are all very, very similar. Unfortunately, he hooked up the loose snow and went out towards the bank, which cost him dearly. So James's time was 1 minute 50.298.
And that gives him how many points?
I would give James 2 points for that.
Okay, so it's a 2 across the board. Do you think that's a fair assessment? How do you think?
I think that's generous. So, thank you, guys.
So let's have a look at how that affects things up with Jack before we get our next set of races underway.
Thank you very much, Neil. So, yeah, that's a shame for James, that getting on that loose snow, as Terry was talking about. And James picking up 6 points, basically, from the track positioning, the car control, and the pace. That is added to his 4 points that he's got after beating Martin Palm in both of the runs. That's funny. So Terry Grant, obviously highly amusing usually. So that is 10 points now then for James Baldwin. We've still got more action on the sim to come, and we haven't had Blakely, Palm and Opmeer's assessment yet from the judges. So that is where we are at currently, with James Baldwin on 10 points. Next up, we're going to see Martin Palm racing again, but this time he is going to be facing Jarno Opmeer, the 2-time F1 Esports champion. And we're about to get going. This time we're in the Porsches, the 718 Porsches, same as real life. And here come the lights. Different cars in this second round. And away we go. So it's Opmeer in the blue and Palm in the black. These cars are going to be very different to the... We're on board here with Opmeer. You can see how hard he works, can't you? So much more patience is required with these Porsches. They are rear-wheel drive only, so it's not quite the sort of flick it in and floor it that you see in the rallycross cars. Very lively at the rear end, as you can imagine. Across the line comes Palm, and he's got a good chunk here over Opmeer. It's 2.9 seconds. He's gone in deep into turn 1 again. It's going to cost him a little bit of time as he tiptoes his way around the first couple of corners. It's going to be quite a close one here. Palm in the black car there, on the inside into this far loop. On board with Palm. Under the bridge. And this is going to be the painful part as he just waits to get on the power, and there goes Opmeer. Opmeer's across the line in a 1 minute 31.1. So Palm finishes 4.6 seconds back. And that is 2 points for Jarno Opmeer. And that was frustrating for Palm, wasn't it? Because he had a good first half of the lap, but then just went in a little too hot. And that is the next corner he's going to be facing, basically. Because he will be starting on the inside now for this next part. You can see the SimCube wheel hub and the bespoke pedals as well. Proper sim racing gear here at Race of Champions. As they get settled in, ready for their second race against each other. We've only had clean sweep so far. Blakely beat Opmeer in both races. Baldwin beat Palm in both races. Can Martin buck that trend? Deep breath. The 35-year-old lives about 200 kilometers from Stockholm. Here he goes. He's clicking it into gear as the lights go out, just banging it full throttle in neutral. And Palm is nice and steady through the first couple of corners. We're with Martin Palm. You can see the wheel is barely ever straight. It's pushing, isn't it? A little close for comfort to that snowbank on the exit. Under the bridge now for Palm. Over the bridge for Opmeer. And Opmeer's across the line already. So that's pretty rapid from Jarno Opmeer. He's got an advantage of 7 seconds, halfway around the lap. Let's ride with Opmeer. This was the sequence of corners we saw Palm in a few moments ago. Just a little bit smoother from Jarno, isn't it? Did 2 years of Formula Renault 2 litre in his junior racing career in the real world, Jarno Opmeer. And he's going to bag himself another couple of points. You'd have thought. Here he comes now, out of the final corner. Under the arch, and it's a 1 minute 29.490. Palm on that second lap. But it is the win for Jarno Opmeer. And he beats Martin Palm in both of those, Neil.
Yeah, so as Martin Palm unfolds himself out of the simulator seat and comes and joins us over here, let's get our focus from our judges onto the real-world lap of Martin Palm, and I hope maybe he had a home advantage being on the conditions of snow and ice. Let's have a look.
Well, a lot of these conditions are like the real world here. Like the roads are unbelievable up here, how snowy they are at times. So Martin with real world experience, but not a huge amount of experience in this Polaris as he came into the first corner. This was his assessment lap that the judges will be watching now. He's using an open-faced helmet, you can see here, because his glasses were fogging up when he had a full visor situation going on. Not something that is a problem in sim racing. Here he is now. This is where James Baldwin got out wide. You can see Palm much more neat and tidy. To the right, then to the left over the bridge. Under the arch, this is the corner he's crashed on every time in the sim world, but in real life, much more neat and tidy. This is nice stuff, this from Palm. Really leaning on the car. Really flicking the back end out quite nicely, isn't he, as he comes into all these turns. Just a few dabs on the brakes to try and get the car to be in the position. Very happy with the back end out. Under the bridge. One more blast on the throttle. Palm across the line. Neil.
Thanks, Jack. And to me, Martin, that looked really good. It's the eROC World Final. Are you feeling the pressure right now?
Of course I am. Yeah, I mean these are some of the fastest sim racing drivers in the world. So of course and it's a brand new setting for me as well. Brand new pedals. I've never actually driven with these type of pedals before. So yeah, but it's really fun. It's cool.
Cool. And out there on the track, you looked very much at home with those pedals. So let's hear what the judges had to say. Oliver, talk us through Martin's car placement.
I think he did quite well. There was a few places which were very good, and a few places where definitely need to improve a little bit, mainly in the long corners to keep the line. But yeah, it was not bad. I'll give him
3 out of 4. That's good. That's 75% success. Petter, what about you? You wanted to see some flair, some car control?
Basically, I think it was actually a very nice run, to be honest with you. You know, it was a big attack in some corners, but some of the corners he didn't have the same flow. He was doing it quite few times to get around. So I give him 3 points, but a fair drive.
Fair drive, very good. So 3-3. And Terry, the timing sheets never lie. Tell us about his pace.
Yep, so Martin done extremely well. Got into the 148s. So it was a 148, 131. So very, very good. Again, I've got to give him 3. I'm not copying the guys, but just by the way the times work out, 3 points from me for mine.
Superb. So quick reaction from a round of applause for Martin. And in fact, you were tidier out there in the real world than in the 2 races here. So 9 points. Let's have a look and see how that affects things.
Yeah, really good stuff from. He is pretty happy with that, I think. I think when as a sort of a Swedish guy to have Petter Solberg say, yeah.
Neil is always excused, you know.
You did a good job. Must be quite a nice feeling, I'd have thought. Well, especially considering he hasn't, especially considering he doesn't have a huge amount of sim racing experience, Martin Palm.
What was it like to be judged by such legends as these?
I mean, as you said in the presentation, I do a lot of automotive photography here in Sweden, motorsports. So I've been following mainly Petter during the years in WRC, but now also Oliver. So it's pretty cool to get some judgment from them from the real track. It's pretty cool.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we should be able to see how that affects the standings at this halfway stage of the group.
And it puts Martin Palm 5 points clear of James Baldwin at the moment. Okay, they have done, Palm has done 2 more races compared to Baldwin. Points all that from the Swede. And we have more racing to come. And also more assessments from Jarno Opmeer and Lucas Blakely. And it is now going to be Lucas Blakely versus James Baldwin as we get ready to go in the next round. And it's 2 points for a win in these, so that's where the points totals are coming from. Back in the Porsches, well, Porsches for the first time for these two as the race gets underway. James Baldwin is on the inside in the blue car. Lucas Blakely on the outside in the black car. This is going to be a close one because neither have lost a race yet so far. Blakely beat Opmeer both times, Baldwin beat Palm both times. In theory, they could draw here. You win the other. On board with Baldwin under the bridge. What's the gap going to be? Blakely's across the line already, and his advantage over Baldwin is 5.6 seconds. Halfway around the lap. So that certainly seems that Blakely has the advantage. We've seen lap times come down in the second half on the outside, but 5.6 seconds feels like it's a lot for James Baldwin to try and make up. We're with Lucas Blakely now. Oh, just a little nudge on the bank on the inside. Gets it onto the brakes, underneath the bridge. This is where it's going to be tight because Baldwin will be coming a lot quicker. But I think Blakely's going to get it to the line. Just a win for Blakely. 0.3 of a second. So it seems like the kind of offset between outside and inside much bigger in the Porsches. but it is nevertheless the win for Blakely, beating Baldwin. And now they are going to swap cars and go again. But that was very tight. So 5.6 seconds was the gap at the split. And then it ended up being basically nothing. That was where Blakely just nudged the wall on the inside. And look at this to the line. Only 0.3 between them. I think the Porsche maybe is just a little bit trickier to deal with in the corners. So the twistier inside line actually costs you more time in these cars compared to the rallycross cars. So 5.6 seconds is the magic number from that 1 point for Baldwin. Baldwin's first defeat of the competition so far this morning here in Pieterhaafsbad. We go again. Blakely on the inside in the black car, Baldwin on the outside in the blue car. Didn't look lovely there for Blakely in the first couple of corners. Very neck and neck, aren't they? Coming up to this long left loop. Under the bridge, so Baldwin across the line. He does a 43.1. What is the gap going to be compared to Blakely? It's 5.7 seconds. So it's almost an identical that ended up being just 0.2 between them. This is going to be tight again. On board with Baldwin. This is where now he will start to suffer because he's on this slower, twistier part of the course. You'll see Blakely appearing in the background before too long. But here in particular, he's got to slow the car down to get under the bridge. Blakely's already at full speed coming over the crest. Baldwin waiting to get back onto the power. Out to the line. And Baldwin takes it. Oh, Blakely's had a moment, has he, coming over the bridge? Not sure what happened there to Lucas Blakely right at the end, but he was very slow across the line. And it is the win for Baldwin. I think I just heard.
So as we get Lucas Blakely to come and join us over here at the judging panel, let's have a little look at exactly what Lucas was setting his lap and see what the judges think about it.
Absolutely. This was just a little look back at the race that we've just seen, and you can see that Baldwin taking the win in the end. Couldn't quite see what happened to Blakely, but you'll see it here when we come across the line. Look to the left, Blakely arriving very, very slowly in the bank, so not ideal there. And there's the reaction from the Scot, but he's still got a decent haul of points so far. And this is how he got on in the real world. Pulling up towards the line. Best we've seen so far are 3s all around for Martin Palm for track positioning, car control and pace. And this is what Blakely got up to. It is cold in Scotland, but nothing like this. And he's not from the sort of far north of Scotland, or so outside of Glasgow. As he comes through the outside sweeper. And then this run down towards the loop at the far end of the course. Ooh, a little wide there, not quite Baldwin wide. Lucas Blakely's real-world experience consists of 20 minutes driving a Porsche at Silverstone. And that is it, compared to James Baldwin, who's raced in British GT, Jarno Opmeer with 2 years of Formula Renault under his belt. Blakely has, I mean, effectively 0 real-world driving experience. this was quite the... he might use this line again later, but he used it yesterday, a baptism of snow. Rather amusing. That's him watching his lap. Neat and tidy. Doesn't look quite as deft, let's say, as Martin Palm. Got the back end out there quite nicely, under the bridge. And then on the power. And that was the lap from Lucas Blakely.
Three wins so far on the sim, but what was the experience like actually out there on the track? Because I know you don't do a lot of racing driving.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do, you know, my whole life. I've always wanted to, you know, get an opportunity to, you know, even just drive one lap like that. So it was probably one of the coolest things I've done in my life. And just, I can't express, like, to everyone watching how fun it actually is. Like, it's watching on the outside, but on the inside you feel so, it just feels unbelievable. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, luckily we've got people on hand who can tell you exactly whether you were slow or fast and whether you've got a future as a racing driver. So first of all, Oliver Solberg, talk us through what Lucas achieved there in terms of car placement.
He's Scottish, so you have a big attack, which I liked. And no, the track positioning was nice. He did some proper lines to go offline to get a better exit. So I'll give him 4 points.
4, maximum score, amazing. So Petter, what about his car control?
Honestly, I was actually quite impressed because he attacked in the right corners. He was very clean. He's not like a normal Colin McRae style but kept a really good speed the whole way. So it looks clean, but with a big attack. So I think it's better than David Coulthard. I think. No, but anyway, I actually give him 4 points, and it was quite impressive drive.
Going to be matched by the times. Terry.
Unfortunately, Lucas, you was very quick. 1:47, 4:28. It was an amazing lap time, really, for someone with no experience. I know you can't believe you're really here. Fantastic, mate. 4 points from me.
That's our first maximum score. A quick reaction from you. You look shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm speechless. Just you know, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what to say, but yeah, I'm just yeah. As Terry said, I'm genuinely just grateful to be here in the first place. I mean, that's just first and foremost, and everything else just feels like a really very nice bonus after. So yeah.
Round of applause for Lucas Blakely, and that should catapult him to the top of the standings, Jack.
Well, what a performance. Lucas Blakely then, 19 points, 5 points clear of Martin Palm. We've still got Opmeer to have a couple of races and his assessment to come, but incredible performance there from Blakely, wasn't it? And he has now got 19 points on the board. So we are in for our next batch of races, which is Jarno Opmeer against James Baldwin. Away they go. Baldwin, you can see there on the inside at the moment. And this could decide who ends up in second place once we get Jarno Opmeer's judging assessment. We will know going into the final couple of races who it's going to be, because Blakely, you would think, has got himself pretty much in first position, and it's the top 2 that advance through the real world race of champions tomorrow and Sunday, which are 12 till 3 local time here in Sweden for the Nations Cup and the race of champions itself. Opmeer 3 seconds ahead of Baldwin at the split. Baldwin beat Blakely in one of the races, so... And Opmeer saying he didn't have the pace yesterday. So although Opmeer's ahead at the moment, we go under the bridge. I wouldn't be surprised to see Baldwin flying over that bridge getting across the line maybe just before. There he comes, and it is the win for Baldwin. 1.4 seconds ahead of Jarno Opmeer. So Baldwin takes the win. And now they switch over. Tight race that. Just over a second between them. But Opmeer needs to find a little bit of pace because so far he has his 2 wins. Lost out to, and those are the only, no, and he lost out to Lucas Blakely in both of the races. And fairly close at the line, 1.4 seconds. Of course, we don't know what Jarno Opmeer has done out on track. And as a driver with real-world experience, I would anticipate strong performance, so still all to play for. Here come the lights. Second race of this match about to begin. Away we go. Opmeer on the inside line. Baldwin on the outside. As we are chasing Opmeer and Baldwin. Coming into the fast left-hander. The far end of the loop. Baldwin on the outside, Opmeer on the inside. So Baldwin is on the faster loop for the first lap. Sorry, for the first half a lap. And he comes across the line. Now we've seen an advantage of 5.6 seconds then go down to nothing. The advantage here is 4 seconds. So Opmeer is still in the fight. If he can hook up a good second half of the lap. He's on the outside lane. Under the bridge goes Baldwin. Opmeer's about to power over it. They come to the line. It's going to be tight here. It's very tight, and it's Opmeer. 500ths. So tight between them, and it is Opmeer who takes it. Neil.
So we're getting to the absolute sharp end here. Jarno Opmeer, this is the last opportunity for him to progress. So if you come and join us over here and just let the adrenaline sink from that race win, let's have a look at what you achieved outside in the snow and ice.
So this was Opmeer's run out there in much more pleasant conditions than we've got today here in Peter Havsbad. On the outside line, first of all, for Opmeer. Wrestling it through those first few corners. Sequence of bends. Opmeer studying his lap, as is Oliver Solberg, Petter Solberg and Terry Grant. Pretty neat so far. Opmeer over the bridge, bit loose. Onto the inside lane. Got his own helmet, Opmeer, after all those years of racing in the real world. So probably the most, well, he and James real world competition. Maybe lost a little momentum through that long left-hander. on the power, under the bridge. Trying to find that traction. He got there in the end, didn't he? And Opmeer, the two-time F1 Esports champion, across the line.
So Jarno, as someone who has a lot of actual track racing experience, don't want to pile the pressure on you, it feels like you should have been quick to adapt to conditions like that.
Yeah, of course, but you know, the conditions are changing so much. When it's snowing, you get so much less grip because of the spikes, not touching the ice anymore. But yeah, I think on the lap I missed the apex a few times a little bit. Minimum speed was a little bit too low, but overall I think I got it pretty well together. So.
That's Jarno's self-assessment. Let's see what the judges think. Is he right? What did you think of Jarno's lap?
Yeah, he's correct in a few places. He missed slightly the apex, but he had good lines, and I think he did quite correct on many places, clean and follow the line. And yeah, I'll give him also 4 points.
4 points. Okay, good, maximum. And what about you, Petter?
I look very clean. You know, for somebody it can maybe look like, this is not so fast. But sometimes when it's this type of conditions, to be the cleanest, kill the speed just enough in the mid corner to get the straight acceleration, and no mistakes at all. And I think that's worth 4 points.
Super. 4 and 4 maximum. And what about the pace?
Pace was very, very close with Lucas, very close. It was another 1:47. You were slightly, few milliseconds off of Lucas's time, so it was a 1:47.452. Again, I have to give 4, the same as Lucas. I have to. They're the milliseconds apart, so well done.
Wow, you might have just rescued yourself there, Jarno, with your outside lap. So a round of applause for Jarno Opmeer. Oliver, I'm just going to show you something. Come with, go that way, go that way. I'm going to have to send you out, Oliver, because you're going to go out onto the track and do some practice driving now. Are you looking forward to driving in those conditions?
Weather is fantastic. This is just what I like. So yeah, we'll see. We don't see so much probably, but nice conditions.
Okay, so permission to leave. Thank you very much, Oliver Solberg, for being one of our judges. But Petter and Terry, you'll stick with us for the rest of the competition, even though your judgment duties are now finished. But now let's complete this phase of the eROC World Final. But first of all, let's see how the standings look with Jack.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. It is blowing a blizzard out here, I got to tell you. So here we are, Opmeer and Blakely up at the top, and those two basically have booked themselves a place in the Race of Champions tomorrow. So Opmeer on 20 points, Blakely on 19. The next two races are going to be Blakely versus Palm. So Palm can't score enough to get up and catch them over these two races, even if he beats Lucas Blakely. So it will be Blakely and Opmeer, who with their real-world experience will be going through tomorrow. But now we have a few positions to be settled in the eROC World Final, because Blakely and Opmeer separated by that 1 point. If Blakely, well, he should be able to end up as the eROC champion, because you get points for finishing in second place as well. Wait for the lights to go out. There they go. So Martin Palm, on the bottom of your screen on the left-hand side, is in the white car on the inside course. You can see how much more grip these cars have compared to the Porsches that they were in last time. Under the bridge for Palm, over the bridge for Blakely. He's going to have quite a big advantage at the end of this first lap. It's 5.5 seconds. We're riding with Blakely now. Big advantage here over Martin Palm. He's coming underneath the bridge. Palm will close in across the line. Blakely takes the win. 2.9 seconds ahead of Martin Palm in the end. So another couple of points in the bag for Lucas Blakely. another solid effort from Martin Palm. And here's a look back at some of the action. This was on the under the bridge on the opening lap for Palm. And this was riding on board with Blakely. Swapped positions now. The final race of the group stages. And there is Oliver Solberg getting into one of the cars to go out and practice in a moment. They've just had to pull a Porsche out of a snowbank. I think it's Jimmy Johnson. But anyway, we'll save that for the real world tomorrow. Still in the eROC World Final here. Palm will be starting on the left on the outside. This time around, Blakely in the black car on the inside. To the right-hand side as we look at it. As we get underway. Strong start from Blakely. This is where he'll start to lose a little bit of ground compared to Palm. It might even be fairly even at the split. In fact, I think it's going to be Palm ahead at the split, isn't it? But now he's on the slower inside track. 2.5 seconds between them. Going up through the gears. And down again into the loop. Under the bridge comes Palm. Blakely going over the top, so it's going to be the win for Lucas Blakely. A 1 minute 20.913, finishing 3.3 seconds ahead of Martin Palm. So another, was Blakely unbeaten in that session? No, he lost one to James Baldwin, didn't he? When he sort of spun coming off the bridge. Neil?
So as we get closer and closer to finding out who will be eROC World Champion 2022, and with the two drivers we know who'll go through to the Rock Nations Cup, and also we'll see which one will compete on Sunday. But James, as our reigning, outgoing eROC World Champion, how do you feel now that you know that you haven't progressed to the weekend?
Obviously, naturally very gutted. It's racing though, sometimes it doesn't always go your way. I have no shame in losing to the best sim racers, and you know that translates onto the real track as well in the world. So it is what it is. It's great to be here. Obviously, very grateful to qualify again. Work out this time. The real track really hindered me. That lap was pretty poor. No matter what I did on there, it won't really work out. So yeah.
And now we've got to decide who will be the new champion of the two. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think Lucas. I think that Scottish, driving on ice practice up north is he's really quick on any car, any track, on the real track. So no, fair play to him, but you can never count out, Jarno. So I couldn't call it, but if I put money on it, it'd be Lucas.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. James Baldwin, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you. And Jack, let's get up to you for the crucial deciding races.
Yeah, this is basically, these two are already through to the Nations Cup tomorrow, but they are now fighting it out to be eROC champion. There you can see Blakely won on points, but the final is Blakely versus Jarno Opmeer. These two good chums, actually. It was nice to see. They were in the sort of, I guess hotel is the word I'm looking for, last night, playing against each other on shuffleboard. Jarno Opmeer was very good, actually. Lucas Blakely wasn't. But we're not here for shuffleboard. We are here for the eROC World Final. They're both going to be racing tomorrow in the real world. But this is going to be quite the fight. They fought each other throughout the season in the F1 Esports series. Jarno Opmeer came out on top there. Blakely finished third in the championship. Picked up a couple of race wins, I think 6 podium finishes. So it was a very strong performance. There is Oliver Solberg out on track, getting some practice in. And he's just coming past my commentary box now, in fact, through the tight left-hander. But we're about to get going in the eROC World Final. Blakely versus Opmeer, head-to-head. Again, it'll be 2 races. Away we go. It's Jarno Opmeer who is on the inside in the blue Porsche. Blakely in the black Porsche. Remember, 5.5 seconds could be Blakely's advantage at the end of the first run. Or the timing sector, I should say. These two faced each other in the very first match that we had this morning, and Blakely came out on top both times. Opmeer under the bridge, Blakely over it. Through the split, 43.3 for Blakely. And the gap is 5.6 seconds. That suggests it's going to be quite tight come the end. Because although Blakely has this big advantage at the moment, Opmeer is going to have the quicker route. And that blue Porsche that will just pop into shot now right at the back will start to close in, because Blakely will be so slow through the bridge, through the left, waiting to get on the power. He gets on the power now. They come to the line. It's tight, and it's Opmeer. It's Opmeer by 700ths. They weren't sure who won. It was that close.
So now we switch, or was this?
So Jarno Opmeer takes it by 0.073. Tremendous stuff. A 1 minute 29.165 for Opmeer. One 0 to Opmeer.
Oh, okay.
So this is it, basically. If it's 1-1, the fastest total time will decide the lane for the decider. But if Jarno Opmeer takes this second win, we won't have a decider. 700ths between them. It was a 29.165 for Opmeer as we get ready to go racing again. So this time it's going to be Blakely in the black on the inside. Opmeer, in theory, will have the advantage at the halfway mark. Away they go. First couple of corners from Blakely. But after this loop is where the pace is going to come in for Opmeer. Let's watch this under the bridge. Gets it slowed. It's reasonable possible. There goes Opmeer across the line. His advantage at the split is 4.4 seconds. So that's a good run for Blakely. 43.5 was 2/10 slower than Blakely managed on that outside line for Jarno Opmeer. But Blakely's in a strong position to potentially take this to a decider. Lost out in the first race by 0.07 of a second. There comes the black Porsche behind. This is going to be close again, isn't it? If Jarno Opmeer in the blue car gets across the line first, he is the eROC World Champion. He's waiting to get on the power. He gets on the power. They come to the line, and Opmeer does it. A 1 minute 28.836, a 1/10 of a second ahead of Blakely. And Jarno Opmeer wins the eROC World Final. So close. Neil.
Wow, the tension down here, you could cut with a knife. Incredible. We weren't sure until the last seconds if it was going to go down to a decider, but Jarno Opmeer, you are the eROC World Champion 2022. How does that make you feel?
Thank you. I was very surprised because yesterday we did an hour of practice on these sims. I had no experience with this car. The others already did the competition, so it was, I'm just very surprised that I managed to win both races. So yeah, very happy.
And Lucas, from your perspective, obviously you don't get the trophy, you're not the champion, but you will compete. He's your teammate for the Sim Racing All-Stars in the Rock Nations Cup.
Yeah, well, first of all, congrats, man. I mean, if I'm honest, Jarno's just the deserving winner because, I mean, I have no excuses. I just didn't do the... Yeah, it's a bit annoying, personally, because I feel like, I had good enough speed in the car. It was just I didn't do a good enough job, made too many small mistakes, which was, the one thing I didn't want to do. And yeah, Jarno was just that bit quicker every time, so he deserves to win. Obviously, I would rather have won, but at the end of the day, I just, I tip my hat because he just did the better job. That's it.
And kudos to you, my friend, because you were very impressive today anyway. But you are the champion. Let's get Fredrik Jonsson in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really, really well done. And congratulations to you too, because actually both of you are going to represent Team E-Racing All-Stars in the Nations Cup, and you're going up against Mick Schumacher and Sebastian Vettel in the first round. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, of course. Going to need a few practice laps more, but yeah, should be very exciting.
Fantastic. Lucas, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, that pot hasn't even sunk in. I'm too busy just trying to get process, what just happened. But yeah, I mean, it'll probably all come at once, and it'll be a really cool experience. But yeah, I think the practice laps are a good idea.
And just a quick assessment from you, Fredrik. It's so important that we have the simulator wing of Race of Champions. We'll do it again next year?
Absolutely. I think it's something that's growing, and to see how well these guys adapt from the virtual to the real world, it's really amazing, and it's very impressive.
They've definitely got to do it tomorrow because they're facing some of the best in the world out there in these insane conditions. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to Jack Nichols. Thanks to the whole team behind this. Thanks to our judges, Peter Solberg over here and Terry Grant. But remember, keep an eye across all our social media because Race of Champions, Rock Nations Cup starts tomorrow, and then it's the Race of Champions on Sunday. But from here in Sweden, we'll say goodbye. Hej då.